Hey Captains, this is Karandar. In today's battle, we're going to highlight the Soviet Tier 8 light cruiser Chapayev. It's on a standard battle being played on the estuary map. This light cruiser design was based on the Kirov class cruiser, but with significant changes in the armaments and hull. She has improved armor, and she boasts 4 triple 152mm gun turrets. Although her base HE shell penetration is quite weak at 24mm, when you equip the IFHE captain skill, her guns become a lot stronger. This combined with her fast muzzle velocity, she can deliver punishing volleys on heavy cruisers and battleships alike, and from a decent range. Chapayev is also equipped with 2 triple torpedo launchers, but these are strictly defensive weapons with only a 4-kilometer range. As for other consumables, she's a typical Russian long-range 12-kilometer radar which exceeds her 10.4-kilometer detection, and this makes her very dangerous to destroyers. You can also choose to mount either defensive AA or hydroacoustic search, adding to her versatility.
Enemy force detected.
All of these Russian light cruisers play similarly. They're very weak on the armor side. Guns are very fast, quite accurate, and I quite enjoy them. No turpits blinked there.
Let's show them what we're made of.
When you see a battleship pushing this aggressively, you really have to be prepared that there's something leading it. Or the captain's crazy. And there's the destroyer. And the first volley was almost 14 kilometers. Did about 3,000. We did another 2,000 in the last volley. Started a fire. These ships are very good fire starters. Quite accurate, good grouping. There's another 2,400. If you can hit the soft spots on these battleships, you can rack up damage in a big hurry with these ships. One thing with standard battles is take a look at our cap. My division mates and myself were talking already. We've already got one of our Cossacks heading back to our cap. It's virtually undefended, and this is such a small map that we run the risk. The person loses too many games losing our own caps. It isn't always sexy going back for your cap, and it might not even be a real threat, but this flank isn't too bad with just the destroyer and the battleship currently, so we're not out much by sending the destroyer back. And it never fails. I was a little worried about where that destroyer was and where potential torpedoes were, and I hit it at the same time that the destroyer popped. Better safe than sorry, though. Heading back to the cap ourselves. Looks like the other flank's getting hit harder than we are. And just chipping away at this turpits. One thing I always appreciate with wargaming and warships, when I do a little research and looking into these, that they were actually real ships, and the Chapayev is one of those ships. It was actually named after a celebrated Russian soldier and Red Army commander during the Russian Civil War. His name was Vasily Chapayev. And they're in our cap.
Concentrate fire on the designated target. Enemy battleship detected. Enemy cruiser sighted.
Our Cossack back there got to delay them a little bit, but with the Cleveland and the destroyer there, he's definitely outgunned. Lots of help heading back though.
Enemy destroyer sighted. All stations, concentrate fire on that target.
That was good Minsk torpedo beats.
Enemy destroyer detected.
The anti-aircraft on the Russian cruisers is pretty decent. You can, like I said before, you can take defensive AA, which definitely helps, but it's one of those skills that if you take defensive AA, then you need your hydro. It's funny how it works.
Requesting fire support.
And this little rock is already too high. With the high muzzle velocity that these Russian ships have, you can't shoot over them. Battleship just to my right. I'd be very concerned that the Eagle's got torpedoes off coming our way, so start angling in. There's the torpedoes, hit my hydro. Try and keep these DD spotted for the rest of my teammates. I get a little lucky here. The torpedo was launched just a bit too close. Didn't have time to arm.
Torpedoes to starboard. Torpedoes
We've lost our
dead ahead.
CV. Our far flank, our poor West Virginia up in the corner, he's in trouble. So it wasn't looking good a minute or two ago. We've managed to claw our way back. A little bit of foresight and teamwork.
Enemy battleship sighted. Concentrate fire on that enemy warship.
I'm going to swing up and try and help with those battleships. My destroyers have been talking with, they're going to watch the gateway here to the south. And these battleships are uncomfortably close. Again, one of the things that these ships are really good at is fire starting. So if you have a case where you've got a couple of battleships that are close together like that, especially if they're a little further back than they are in this case, fire on one, start a fire, and then focus on the other one. Try and get fires on him, focus that one as much as you can. Oh, and a destroyer. By focusing on the two ships, keeping a single fire on one while you focus the rest of your damage on the other, you're using up the other one's consumables, causing extra damage, just wearing them down over time. And if you have enough time, really accelerates how quickly you can sink them. So coming around this corner, I had about 18,000 damage. I've more than doubled it already just in this brief time with these two battleships and that destroyer. One thing with Chapayev, she's got a very large turning circle. It's 890 meters and very weak armor, especially against something like 460s that this Nelson's firing. So playing at range, planning your course ahead is very important to surviving. Not allowing yourself to get cornered against battleships, or else you'll find yourself drinking with Davy Jones. Got punished by the plane. Now I'm lucky that that ship at 17 kilometers is Massachusetts. They're not known for good accuracy at range. If that was North Carolina or something, I'd be in a lot worse troubles. And they're chipping me down though. This Nelson, very, very strong ship. It's a favorite battleship of mine. It's got a monster heel, but her weakness is 25 millimeter armor. And you can see by these volleys, there's 4,000, lighting fires. Just keep chipping at this thing. Try hit different parts of the ship, lighting more fires. If they were further apart, like further away from me, I'd be switching back to get another fire on that Massachusetts, but I don't have time. The Nelson will reprint half his ship if we can't get him killed fast enough. And I'm getting uncomfortably up against this little rock in the north. One down.
Enemy battleship sunk.
Our team's in the enemy cap. We've managed to whittle them down and dwindle their forces. Two volleys, two fires. That's pretty lucky. I think the fire chance is like 11% with IFHE on, and then your signal flags. But you fire a lot of shells, and if they hit, you'll get a lot of shatters, non-penetrations, but they all have a chance to start fires. And right about now, he's probably yelling at me. He's pretty lucky with the fires. And this is a situation that you never want to find yourself in any light cruiser. Out in the open, in a corner, having to turn because there's an island beside you. And the battleship knows it. And another fire. At this point, I'm just trying to turn as fast as I can to make myself as skinny as I can against them. And I brush the island. And Citadel me.
Our team has taken the lead.
So that's what you don't want to do. And Amagi secures the kill. And with this ship class, the Russian Navy had envisioned a large program. 17 ships were initially authorized in 1939. 7 ships were actually laid down before the German invasion in 1941. However, with the outbreak of the war, the Chapayev wasn't actually completed until April 19th of 1950. She was decommissioned in 1981. 141,000 damage, 13 aircraft kills, 3 ship kills, should have been 4, 13 fires, top of the list. Priority targets, so you know what's shooting at you. Expert marksman, adrenaline rush, demolition expert, IFHE before concealment expert, and probably would take superintendent for the extra consumable charges. Thank you very much for watching, like, subscribe, and as always, good hunting.